welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney. This is V-Diffuser. In our last episode, we met Iris Wilson, and we also met the landlord of Sosuke Natsume. And he seems to be hiding something. Let's go figure that out. Busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. You pen again. Tell me, was a detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Harlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell, but that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show, what? Another cup of tea, if you please, Doan. Now then, why don't you tell me what— Yay! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind. Oh yes, of course. We're deeply grateful for all your assistance. Oh, not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like ourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation open up to us, perhaps we should do some digging. What are you doing, Sholmes? What is he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes! Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Harlock Sholmes, sir. At your service. What are you doing over by the window? I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. And sadly the cheerful as the room downstairs, undoubtedly, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of spaces by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye on one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about, is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. That is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Here we go again. Excuse me. Mr. Garrett, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. Huh? I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by a careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Hey! And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look.
The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on.
How? How could you possibly?
How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, it reminds me of the puzzle. I mean, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Shall we play a game? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot. Hip hip. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on a rampage as of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with a question. What form might the beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid.
Hey!
Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue? No. Yes, to an army man you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of the beasts.
What is this piffle, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. Lions aren't in India, genius.
What?
What was that on his face? Living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you'd imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence.
Whoa!
Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam?
Me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction.
It is.
Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabout. Protruding from it is a handbill advertisement for a circus show.
Huh?
Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Miss Garrett, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I've observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe.
I most certainly did not.
I believe I've made my point. And as usual, lions aren't in India, genius. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. No! Just no! I don't know. Are there actually lions in India? I didn't think there were. It's plainly clear that you still have the deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders. The pain you feel being repressed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage.
Nonsense, man. I simple.
But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only to follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. In this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer, every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved had had quite a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go.
Weird. Well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
unimaginable.
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over here. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dear me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. The wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. To explain the dire situation of the carpet, you only need to look at the Tower of Cake. Cake?
Huh?
This is no creature more dangerous on earth than a beast with an insatiated appetite. Was it or was it not by chance said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Marie Antoinette never said that. Food is at the heart of all this tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by a beast. Cake would actually poison the lion. No! There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. No. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of the lion I once saw in India. I cannot even begin to tell you what is wrong with that statement. My sentiments exactly.
What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Keradeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now, you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. You're beyond the realm of common sense, idiot. Wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrett and Med would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast, using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. My dear Miss Susato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, that doesn't happen. It would be hilarious if it did. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling this was coming. Slight massage, that's all Mr. Holmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help in Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least that's what I want to believe. Let's start again. From the very beginning of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. And get it right this time. Course correction. Mr. Sholmes, who the hell, hang on. Someone is mucking around with my soundbar. It shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage as of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? It's not the lion statue, genius. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrett's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Something with a very fierce nature. Couldn't have been a lion transported from India. Photograph frame. That's gonna cost me. Getting ahead of myself. Look at it, then present it. You can't make out his bride. How come that's not working? And it's not working because I didn't press further. Ugh. Will this actually work? No! Why isn't it working? Take 3. Yes. Yes, I know what the thing is, and I don't know why it's not counting. This must have been when he was still in the army. Newlywed bride. There, jeez. I don't know why I didn't do that the first few times. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Never mind the fact I tried to make that thing 3 freaking times. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Gyarados. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a... You know, Sholmes, you are about to get your ass handed to you. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late! The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room is about to punch your lights out, Mr. Sholmes. It was your wife, Mr. Gyarados. Hey! The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much evidence. Whoa! Yes, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature disappear to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's claimed to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket! No, it's not that. Poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of Miss Gyarados anywhere. I wouldn't be so sure. Oh, ho, ho, ho. She's wearing a very large wing. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's a wedding ring. It's on her for life, too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruto, not say. Do you know Mr. Gyarados' wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? Yeah. Which means...
Take that!
There! Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to Beast's current whereabouts. Stop calling her a beast. Indeed it does! The flowery blend gleaming on your finger gives it away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Gyarados' bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Gyarados' lucky bride. You are Miss Gyarados herself. Oh my! What? Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife. Yes, my germ. Rather let herself go, you might say. But she was a bally corker back. Hey! It would appear you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man. And yet, you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? That's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? That's actually quite a step up. That's actually quite the ranking you got yourself to. That takes some considerable talent. Why, golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, which such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garadeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garadeb?
Only company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret.
Tip-top secret.
Please.
The raging wife of Mr. Garadeb. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Because it's not a friggin' lion. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garadeb's wife a beast. And she might just punch his lights out. No, she won't, because he never gets his lights punched out in this series. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? So perhaps that supporting arm seems to be propping up on his head has some other significance then. Mr. Garadeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Ouch! Yow! That is a big slap. Gosh, that's quite something. Clearly made by somebody's hand. Mr. Garadeb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Very hard. Never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavily on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garadeb?
Well, yes.
You've been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir.
Hey! How the blazes? How would you work that out, man?
Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves, what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage? And we need only to follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. It's not the bills. Did Mr. Sholmes say the bills were all for lion fodder? Yeah, and now that we know the lion was never part of anything, it never existed. Was Mr. Garadeb's wife. She's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap round the face. One so hard it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. I'd love to know the answer to that question. What is this? Oh, that's not a good sign. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader. Wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. It's a note written by a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look at the signature there. Lip marks. What a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato. I'm sorry. This bookmark's actually a love note, then. That's it. That's it. There. Yes, it's the love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note is certain Miss Mary is the fly in the ointment here.
Hey! But I don't know the Bowie woman.
You don't know her?
That note wasn't written to me. It was in the book. I don't know how it got there.
It's just in there, you say.
That's right. That's what I've been saying. Hey! A lively story. Now listen here, Joe No Thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at that second-hand place. The note must have already been there.
So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
That's right. That's what this is saying. A lively story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you'd forgotten, is John. A likely story. Are you questioning my name now?
And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Get some frigging marriage counseling, please. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable.
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet here. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken, and it's not a lion attacking. It's definitely not the frigging Tower of Cakes. No, no Tower of Cakes. Eat the carpet? No. Of course not. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. We need only to follow Miss Girdup's gaze, that will tell us the real answer. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small, and it's very unstable. Even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Alrighty.
Change that!
There. Yes, to explain the dice straight of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow. Of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks. it would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Miss Garrideb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder, and in seconds the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room was in flames. The most ferocious beast in the world is neither a violent lion, nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. One, that the player of this game needs to stop jumping at conclusions, and second, after the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! Carpet scorched by a small fire. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. And yet, I seem to be unable to deduce a fairly easy portrait.
It's a dashed long winter night, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there.
And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material, for which your wife admonished you harshly, it seemed.
Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt descriptor.
You earned that one. No matter what, you just don't call a woman a beast. Unless she wishes to be called one. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor?
Pray to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bonny thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames.
You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garrideb. Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Oh, wow, you lost quite a few books there.
Had all my favorite novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke.
Gosh.
Then the wife started hurling things at me.
Well, if you describe her like that, I wouldn't be surprised.
There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is I lost my favorite, book called The Lion's Pride.
Lion's Pride? Ah yes, you're notorious of love of big cats. Coming through again.
I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and a whole stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside of your window in the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really? I wonder about that. Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, what can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Gyarados' situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be relevant or not. I knew you were gonna say that. Aha! Ha ha ha! Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of them two categories. Those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no! Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think.
Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Gyarados.
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Sosuke-san will be waiting for us, and I'm gonna have to give him an answer. Alright, time to move. It's time, Mr. Naruto. We must hurry back to the prison. I know. Let's kill a cat. Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gyarados house. Who the fuck are you?
I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
What are you calling old man, you rum-looking niminy-biminy?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Well, someone knows his Shakespeare.
Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you all about?
Excuse me.
Hey, what that? Who are you now?
I'm sorry. It just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
Aye, a lawyer. What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law.
Fine, I'll be on my way for today. Oh, you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery.
Okay.
Do I look like a blooming nun to you?
I think he means the other nunnery.
To a brothel.
I do hope you're not injured.
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you.
What was that all about?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
You already said that. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here in the Gyarados residence?
Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode.
Mr. Gyarados mentioned he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Well,
Yes, a gentleman named Natsume, whom more worthy a polemist in my battle of words there could be. Battle, did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Master Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. Yeah, whatever the heck you say. I don't really understand it, but I think he's returned to his room. And I think it's time we head out. I'll see you guys next time.